Years ago, headquarters of the Withering Circle, citadel of bone, training pits. It was always cold in the training pits, not real cold of wind and winter. This was the kind of chill that crept in and corrupted your soul. In the corner lay a boy, 13, maybe 14. Deep red scars were raked across his back. Tattoos and tribal markings were painted on the undamaged flesh. Nobody knew his name. He was just another face in the pits, where soldiers of the Withering Circle were made or perished. The pits, where they threw children into dueling circles with skeletal hounds and failed apprentices. Where if they wanted to live, they had to be willing to kill. The child did, not because he was cruel, because he was angry. Every cut, every ritual, every lesson where he was forced to learn the tongues of the dead. He took it in like poison. He memorized their chants, their bindings, their manipulations of the soul and shadow puppetry. He listened when they said pain was power. They thought they were molding him, but in reality, they were feeding his hate. He learned under monsters with human faces. "You must feel nothing," the undead warlock hissed. A flesh-weaving apprentice wearing a child's face said, "The body is a tool, nothing more," and taught the children how to break a man's spine to keep him alive. He cried that night, quietly, where no one could hear. He knew what happened to children who showed emotions. He woke up the next morning and did it himself. If he could help it, he would end their suffering, not out of some sense of duty, but because he remembered his sister's scream. He didn't flinch in the face of death anymore. But every innocent life lost stoked the fire in his heart. Year after year, they refined him, gave him tasks others couldn't do. Let him taste magic most men would go mad from touching. They thought they had claimed him. They never noticed the cracks in their cage. He remembered every face, every lesson meant to kill his humanity. And every night, when the black fires dimmed and the rituals ended, he'd whisper his real name, just once, just to remind himself, "I'm still here." But this night was different. The dream shifted. No longer in the training pits. He stood again in the ruins of his home. Smoke was curling through the shattered beams, flames still eating bones. He was a child again, barefoot, knees bleeding, screaming their names, his father's, his sister's, but only the wind answered. Until now, from the center of the ash pile, a hand reached up, twisted fingers, skin like wax stretched too thin, and a face he would never forget. His mother's, half burned, half frozen in agony. Her eyes snapped open, milky white. She was being raised, used. Just like every other puppet, they tied to their black strings. Her jaw twitched, and she whispered. Her voice cracked and raw. "Kaylin." Present day. He jolted awake with a gasp, sweat slick on his skin despite the freezing air. His sword was already in his hand. His heart pounded like a war drum. The shadows in the corners of the ruined tower flinched. The fire had gone out. Only smoldering embers remained. He sat up slowly, breathing deep. It wasn't a dream, just memories. He stared into the coals for a long time. He didn't meditate. He didn't cast a cleansing spell. He didn't push the memory away. He welcomed it. Because they still lived, the ones who made him, the ones who chained children to altars and fed souls to constructs. They thought they could forge a beast. Instead, they made a goddamn firestorm. He rose, strapped his sword to his waist, and whispered into the empty night, "I'll never forget." He vanished, and the embers slowly burned out.